Guy 1948 here. In the last video I was talking about these two going to Purgatory. So here's a little taste of what Purgatory is and why it is the way it is. That one there, obviously everything's so locked up on it. I mean, all the pulleys, the steering, same thing with this one. The engine's locked up. Not in the greatest of shape, not really worth putting a bunch of money into. This one here, Cub Cadet 1110, I kind of really like this one because it was kind of Cub Cadet's downfall. It was like right after MTD bought them out, they came out with this. And it was kind of one of their first like budget Cub Cadets that had the 11 horse. That's actually not the original engine. I swapped that out after I got it. They started it up at the auction. It was like, okay, it runs good. And then about a week after using it, I started getting a bad knock in it. So that wasn't very good. A neat little unit. I did use it quite a bit, but the tires were getting to where they wouldn't hold the air. The engine was getting really hard to start. Had the tank in the back, I do believe, and it's having, yeah, it does. I think the fuel pump was starting to go out on it. And this was before I had money. Well, I still don't really have money, but it was before I had a job when I had this. So projects are a little harder for me to work on. I mean, not that Mom and Dad didn't give me stuff to keep me going on this stuff, but you know, it gets kind of pricey. We had to pick and choose what projects we were going to work on. It was a hydrostat, 38-inch deck, I do believe. There aren't really a whole lot of videos on 1110. I kind of like to see this one come back just because of the history on it. It's, you know, kind of like the first downfall of Cub Cadet into a chintzy mower. This is a white. What is this? 1655. It doesn't mean it's a 55-inch deck. I think it's like a 42, about the same thing as that. I mean, it's pretty darn close. It's got a 16-horse Briggs, industrial, commercial. They're almost twins, but they're not, because this one has a different style transmission on it. It doesn't have the little gear shift down low. It's got one kind of the same idea, but kind of not. And the transmission went out on this one. Well, very drive. It's a little, however, I'm not exactly sure if this one had the two little rubber disc things or if these were just a little bit different. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've dug into any of this stuff. But I do remember the transmission was not working. It ran really good and the deck seemed to work, but again, I got this. I didn't have a ton of money to put into it. And there she sits. It does have a fancy chrome grill. And the, I think the engine's still loose. I don't know. We'll have to look here. Yeah, she's loose. It's got the fancy chrome air breather on it too. I like it. Goes LGT, like lawn garden tractor, but it's got tall tires, but it does not have bolt-on wheels. That little wheel horse that I can't hardly get to, 211-4, it was in a barn when I bought it. I bought it almost sight unseen at an auction. I gave like 20 bucks for it or something, and thinking, that might be a neat little one to fix up. Well, a mouse had built a nest under the cover, and boy, that whole engine is just seized up hard. It's much like those two. Every pulley on it is froze up. Possibly that one's about the same way. I don't know. These have just kind of been sitting here for the last 5-10 years or so. Well, no, that's not totally true. At least the last 4 or 5, because when I bought this property, Dad kind of brought all my stuff, and well, this isn't all my stuff, but some of my stuff that was sitting outside and threw it over here. And yeah, pretty well locked up. I did get the deck with it. I don't know where it is. I think it's over there somewhere. But needs a lot of work. I might be unsavable. That those mice did a number. I think the fins on the head and everything were starting to like erode away. This here, a 214 John Deere. Basically bought it for the rear tires off of it. It had a better set of rear tires when we got it. I stole those, and no engine. The hood's just kind of sitting on there. It does have a side panel. One. Don't have the pair of them. But it does have the deck. It's got a few good sides to it. But it's another thing that would take a lot of money to get up and going again. These are just kind of the, like I say, it's purgatory. You don't know what the future is going to be for any of these. I'm going to try as long as I can keep them out of the scrapyard at least. But out of all these, that hydro is most likely to be brought in and worked on. That Dynamark on the end, I still kind of, that one that's all crushed. Oh, here's another purgatory item. My parts car, my other Buick LeSabre. Surprisingly, no mice have gotten in here yet, so I still have a pretty nice interior. I know, get this one running. It's another money thing. It needs, well, we're figuring head gasket. It's a 3800 engine. It wouldn't be terrible to do, but head gasket, the engine was locked up. It needs a starter. The guy cut the catalytic converter off of it. We stole a couple sensors for another car we have that has the same engine, another LeSabre. Yeah, it's like, it's become, oh, and then we come around to the back. This door does not work because I stole it to put on my other car, which is exactly the same color. I got videos on that on the channel. I wanted to put this trunk lid on there, but I never got around to it because it's got nicer paint on it. Mine's kind of got a little checkering where someone had a magnet antenna. So I just put a magnet antenna on mine. So it works, it kind of covers it. International Lodestar, a little update on that. Haven't done a whole lot to it. Just had a, I'd have to look back at the video, remember what V8 that is in there. I think it was a 401. I think it was a 401 in there. But the bed's no longer on it. Had someone wanting the bed, so they ended up taking that off. You can see the big lifts for it though. Again, it's in purgatory. Here's another ward that kind of ended up in the same realm. Kept throwing belts, and then I think the transmission quit driving on it. Something happened to where I quit running it, because I used to run this one quite a bit. David Bradley there. Again, you only have so much shed space, and believe me, everything is full. There is no end to projects for this channel. But this is the other Dynamark. I was wanting to look at it. It's a little bit wider on the foot, on the rails, isn't it? This here, the transmission's kind of exposed. So I'd say this is an older model. Has a cigarette lighter on it. Amp gauge. A neat little thing here. That actually is a gas gauge. The tank is right here, and it's got an extra little neck that goes out. So that's actually just a cap screwed down in there with a float on it, but you have a normal cap like that under there for filling it. Story on this, it fell from, actually, out of that loader there, it fell about 8 feet or so, face first under the ground. I do believe this one will run again though, because last time I checked, she's loose. It's 8-horse Briggs. These things are kind of hard to kill. I was hoping that other one would have been the same way, but it had a 10-horse, this is a 38-inch deck. Yeah, 838. I just always kind of like this one because of the looks and everything. So I do have plans. I'm going to keep the other Dynamark as long as I got this one. So that way I should have some interchangeable parts. But I do want to get this one at least drivable. I know I need like a new steering parts and stuff. It's a stupid project, but I kind of want to see this one up and going. Got a little distracted at the end of that clip. So that's kind of what my purgatory graveyard is for these mowers. They just sit outside. They're not getting scrapped anytime soon, at least as long as I got a say in it. And I have land out there now, so I've got 3 acres out there by my parents, so we just kind of shove them over what my parents don't want in their yard, and they really don't care too much. If you've looked around their yard, It's full of tractors and stuff. It's just the way we are. But, so this one will end up out there. It's got a little bumper Grandpa kind of made for it, and he put hitches on everything. Any mower that came in, Grandpa had to have a trailer hitch put on it. But and that's not all that's out there. There's plenty more mowers, so you're gonna have to hit subscribe and follow me for more of those. Maybe if I find some way to get more money and more time. I don't see that happening anytime soon, but start bringing some of these projects back to life. But I really want to focus on the cooler, the older, the rarer, the more oddball units, because there's a lot of those out there too. Like I pointed at that semi-trailer, full of stuff. Neat things. But I can't show you everything at once. So yeah, stay tuned for more, because there's plenty more to come. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.